Sacred is very, very close to my heart. He's been on my wish list for the longest time. So he's a very indulgent director, and I love being directed by him. Like, you already have a Deepika, you have Shahryar, you have Ranveer Singh, and you have Aditi as well, and then I'm there, and then there is a whole story that is woven in. I can only say that I'm playing an important part. Hi, this is Anupriya Goenka. You're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.
We have this Anupriya Goenka. She's doing some really fine work both in movies as well as on the digital platforms. Pleasure having you back on Bollywood Hungama.
Hi.
So, which do you enjoy more, digital platforms or movies?
Both equally. I think both have their own speciality, as in on the digital platform you have a longer format, so you can have more etched out characters and dig deep into your character. And also your camaraderie with the rest of the actors is that much more defined because each one of us has, more graphed out roles. But at the same point in time, films have their own charm and they really can't, be equated to.
How's the experience maybe on Sacred Games and in the recent times in Criminal Justice? How was the experience for you?
Very, very good. Criminal Justice that way was one of my first proper web, experiences. And we shot for more than 3-4 months. And I had Pankaj Tripathi to work with the whole time. So that was my biggest takeaway. I really loved working with him. And the whole team, we really put in a lot of hard work together. It was Applause's first show. It was a first for many of us in some sense. So the whole charm and the whole, enthusiasm, and also each one of us were discovering something. It takes a while for you to understand the format. It's almost the same as shooting a film actually. It's just that the writing is more elongated and more detailed. And yeah, I really loved working with Pankaj sir and Vikrant, and I met Jackie sir a couple of times. Meeta ma'am I've been fond of. So it was great. And Sacred is very, very close to my heart because I love the entire crew to bits, I got to work with Vikramaditya Motwani in the first season, though my scenes weren't retained. But he's been on my wish list for the longest time. Then I got to work with Neeraj Ghewan this time, which was very special in itself.
You're doing a big movie like Padmaavat, but you're there mostly as a picture. And you're hardly having any dialogues.
Yeah.
Is that something of a bit of a setback in a way for you as an actor?
Not at all. On the contrary, Padmaavat was one of the best experiences I had as an actor because Sanjay sir is so indulgent. So, yeah, the graph of the character, I'll agree, did not come out as the way we, envisaged it to come out. Also, Padmaavat had its own journey altogether. And I enjoyed working with Sanjay sir so much because he is there with you every step of the way. Everything that you do, as much as move a finger, he's noticed it and he has an opinion on it. So he's a very indulgent director and I loved being directed by him. It was tough. It was very, very tough. And that's what made it so much interesting. As we continued to work together, there was a camaraderie that had formed. He'd started trusting me more. And whenever he appreciates you, it's like, it just feels so beautiful because any appreciation that comes from him. So I had a great time working with him. So I'm very blessed to be a part of it.
Right, and on the other level, there was Tigers in the Hair, where your character was something that was pivotal because it's part of the conflict.
Yeah.
Is that something maybe a more satisfying experience because people are actually talking about it more?
So as I said, experience-wise, both are very important for me because I experienced as much on the set of Padmaavat also. It did not translate as much on screen maybe, but my experience was great. So that's what I hold close to my heart. Tiger was a very different experience for me as an actor because the entire crew was together for 2 months. We were out of the country. We were just in that zone. I had such beautiful scenes. The writing was so pivotal. And yes, it translated beautifully on screen also. So the character has really stayed with people and they related to it. And they took it back home, as you said. It made an impact on everyone who saw it.
Okay.
In fact, sometimes the first thing they refer to me is as Padmaavat actor, Anupriya. I don't know why is it that way, but it is like that. So I somehow in my system, they both are like one unit for me. And they made a huge impact on my career. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I've done, it did make a lot of difference for me. So I always treat them as one and they equally are very important.
Tell us about your journey of Sacred Games Part 2. What exactly are you doing and How crucial is that?
I'm playing Megha, who is Saif's ex-wife. She was introduced in the first season.
Now that's an important role because Saif is apparently having a much bigger part in season 2 than season 1 in terms of relevance as well.
Okay.
So the experience of being a part of it and
Beautiful. I mean, I don't know. I really can't comment upon how big my role is, honestly speaking, because then it's an ensemble cast and there are so many people. So I don't know how it will figure in terms of being there in screen time. The importance, I believe, is in the positioning of the role, because she plays a certain... Her character defines the emotional catharsis that Saif's character goes through, Sartaj. He is somebody who is in an emotional turmoil because of certain things, and Megha is a huge part of it. So to understand his perspective, to understand his point of view, or to understand his whole tumultuous nature, you get a sense of it from Megha's relationship with him, you know. So that's how it's important. She plays an important part in his life, per se. And somewhere she also becomes quite an important reason for him to do certain things that he does towards the end of the series. So that way it's crucial. I enjoyed playing Megha a lot. And Neeraj is a very sensitive, very sweet person. He's full of ideas. He has a lot of information to give to you as a director, but he also lets you be. And Saif is, I think, one of the most down-to-earth celebrities that I've worked with. Very, very comforting to work with. And yeah, it was amazing.
So what are you doing next? Apart
There
from
is
Sacred Games, what else are you doing?
Asura is going to come out, I think, somewhere, which is a Voot web series, which has Arshad Varsi and Barun Sopti in it. I think that's going to come out somewhere towards the second week of September.
That's quite an ambitious project as well.
Yeah.
And Arshad is very excited about it.
Yes, it's quite nice. And it's been made very well also. Then there is War, which is obviously coming out in October. And there's Criminal Justice 2, which will start shooting somewhere towards the end of this year. I think November ke aaspas. One or two more things are in the pipeline, but it's too early to talk about them. Like, I don't really know whether they will happen or not happen.
So tell us about War. What exactly are you doing in War?
I can't talk much about it. But I can only say that I'm playing an important part.
It's coming on October 2nd.
Yes.
I'm sure that the experience of shooting for it must have been
Amazing. Very, very good. But I would love to tell you in details. And that is when we meet again.
Okay, but great experience working with Tiger and Hrithik.
Yeah. See, the only thing I've really realized, Faridoon, is that all of these stars are very hardworking. And nobody has frills. Because I think the time is gone when you could have frills and when you could work as an individual. Now everybody works as a team. And and you get to learn a lot from them. Like from Saif, the one thing that I've learned the most is his simplicity and his humble nature. Like, he would introduce himself to everybody on the set. There was this one time we were shooting for a scene together, and I used to shoot in period, in gaps with them. He was obviously there the whole time. There was this AD who must have come, and he couldn't have seen her much or saw for the first time. He immediately stopped and introduced himself and asked who she was and how come she was here suddenly and she hadn't been there before, blah, 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 blah. And I realized that I also don't know her. Like, it's not because I was being rude or I wasn't careful. It's just that you're so lost in your head and you just assume that, yeah, you don't know everybody doesn't know you. But there's an effort it takes to introduce yourself to everybody on the set and make everyone feel as in they're working in a team.
No, definitely.
So, yeah, I think everybody is very humble and sweet, yeah. Hi, this is Anupriya Goenka. You're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.